for both pec major and latissimus dorsi. So we've got a combined test to do that. Look at see where the shortness lies in those particular two muscle groups, and then from there we can go on and do some PNF techniques to try and stretch them out. So what we do is get your client lying supine position, arms and hands down by the side of the body to start with, and we're going to ask them to start by just raising their hands up like so. So can you just do that for me? You stand around the head of the couch and then just passively take the wrists and lower them into that position and observe what is going on. There's two things that we're looking for here. One, how much space there is between the arms and the couch, and that's an indication of how tight or not pec major is, okay? And then the second is how wide the elbows come. So if the elbows come out in that fashion, that's an indication that latissimus dorsi is short as well, okay? So in this instance, you can see and make your own conclusions here. Certainly no shortness in latissimus dorsi, tiny bit in pec major, okay? So lats, as we know, do responsible for adduction in a lat pull down. They insert around the front of the humerus and therefore responsible for internal rotation, and it's that internal rotation tightness that pulls the elbows out. Okay? Everybody clear on that? So if we take the arms back and start with, first of all, pec major, the best action to stretch that is horizontal abduction. So to do that and to make sure I don't put any pressure on the anterior capsule, I need to get the shoulder over this side of the couch. To make sure he stays stable on the couch, we'll have him at a diagonal angle. So if you put your feet over there, shoulder over this side, that's it, that's great. Then what I'm going to do is take the arm out, as I say, into horizontal abduction, and I've got to judge exactly what angle is going to be best to target most of the fibres. Now, we should recognise where the origins of pec major are around the sternum and the clavicle. So you've got fibres coming out and inserting on the bicipital groove on the humerus. If we adjust that angle, at the moment if I go for an absolute horizontal angle, you can see the line of pull through the humerus is directly onto the clavicle, so I'm not going to get much of a stretch there. The more I move up into that position and then take the arm down, the more you should feel a stretch, yeah, across a broader sort of spread within that muscle. Now you can negotiate that with your client, but just by them feeling it. So just move around a few degrees and go into horizontal abduction, and that should find the best position to get that stretch. The next thing we've got to do is establish position to make sure that origins and insertions do move further apart in the stretch phase. And if I lower the arm like so, he's going to start rolling towards me. So what I'm going to do, if you can take your hand please and just put it over your sternum like so. I can place my hand over his and I can control that thoracic roll there. Okay, and I can stop him rolling towards me. It also helps if I'm dealing or working with a female client. Obviously that's not going to be too obtrusive if I put my hand over hers in the middle of the chest like so. Okay? This hand moves onto the biceps because in a moment he's going to push up towards the ceiling so that his hand doesn't just flop around, he doesn't know what to do with it. If you can just wrap your hand around my arm, okay, just hold my arm around the back, that's it, good. Okay, hand back into that position. Stabilise here, okay, and you tell me where the best position of stretch is. Does that feel?
Yep.
That's okay. So I make sure the thoracic cage stays absolutely stable, and I lower his arm towards the floor so he's going into horizontal abduction, and we hold that position of stretch for our 12 seconds. Okay? We've probably been at least that time with the amount of time I've been talking. So now we're going to get him to do the build and hold again to make sure that we try and hit that target intensity. So if you can just gently start pushing your arm up towards the ceiling from a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and hold there. Good. And just for the remainder of that 7 seconds, take it down and relax. Deep breath in, breathe out, and as he does so, the arm goes further towards the floor. Okay? And once again, you do your 3 cycles exactly as before. Okay, any questions on that? Okay, next we're going to go on to Latissimus Dorsi, and for that we're going to turn the client on the side. So if you can turn on your side facing that way. First of all, put your hands under your head if you like to get your head into a neutral position, down like that, that's it. So we don't want too much side flexion of the head, make sure they're nice and comfortable, stable in the leg region, so he's got his knees slightly bent here, so that's okay. And the torso should be fairly vertical in that plane, okay? The stretch position is for them to take their arm over the top like so, and just lower into that position. We've then got to control the stretch, and this position will depend on your relative size as a practitioner in relation to your client. So if I had somebody who was really tall on the couch, I'm going to have a little bit of difficulty reaching out, putting a hand on iliac crest and a hand on elbow to try and get that stretch. My better position of control, if I can do it, is take control of this arm so I can move it around and stretch. To do that, stand behind the head, loop your arm in front like so, wrap around onto the triceps. And now you can see I can control that very easily. From here, I can stabilize the iliac crest and I can just sink backwards. Okay, so I'm not pulling using my arm, I'm just rocking backwards and getting into a stretch position. Can you feel that?
Yeah.
Okay. So once again, you're going to give it your 12 seconds of passive stretching, and then you're going to do your build and hold, and you're going to instruct your client, if you like, show them that's the movement we want you to do in contraction. And then you do your 3, 4, 5, exactly as before. Okay? So your choice, if you can do it, take control of the arm that way. If they're too tall, then stand behind them and just use your arms to spread in that fashion. Anybody, any questions? Okay, so 2 to perform.